cool. So I gave myself an official title because I thought that having like a typical title on your business card is kind of boring, and so that's why I go. I'm really big on like personality and making people happy and smile, so I decided that that's really probably what I wake up every day and do is make people smile. So that's why I call myself a smile curator. I do user operations at Stripe, and I'm really excited to be here. So I'm going to just jump right in. Um, the support situation that we have is there's about a few dozen of us. A lot of us are in SF, but we also have people in London and Ireland, and we're just rapidly growing to keep up with all of our awesome users. We get about a couple thousand tickets a day, and we have tens of thousands of active users. So that's sort of like that's our profile. So things that I've been working on with other Stripes recently, we've been really focused on trying to get like some phone support situation happening because people love talking to people when it's about money. So I've been working on our phone support beta. I've also recently been working on training our new account supports, which is really exciting. So account support is our typical, that's like our baseline user operations role. Those are the people that are on the front lines helping our users every day. And then on the flip side of that, I've been really focused on recruiting more of those account supports. So if you know anyone who's looking for an awesome job, talk to me. So those are sort of like the buckets that I'm most focused on right now. And as far as what's working, I will piggyback Eventbrite a little bit in that we're a global team, but like we all interact a lot. Of course, Slack is very helpful in getting us to interact. And so I think that even though we're growing, it feels very much like a small company in that we all talk to each other all the time. We Slack people in different countries, and it's not just like work talk. It's like, how are you? What's going on in your life? What are you up to? And so I feel like what's really cool about working at Stripe is just the people. We all say that. Like, I had to think of a new thing to say to people when they asked me because I was like, I don't want to say that because everyone's saying it. It really is true though that like we all hang out and like have a really good time and really enjoy each other, and we're all very close knit despite how much we've grown. So I think that's really cool. As far as like what's working with like the beta phone support, I feel like some things that were really helpful to pin down with it were training plots around getting people on phones, because even though we do get on phones with users now, that's not like our go-to. Like there's certain situations we generally talk to users in, and Stripe is a very complex product. And so like finding ways to help users over the phone with really complex problems is challenging. It's also important because our users, this is their money, so it's often their livelihood. So it is really important that we can help them as quickly as we can. So there's that, and then on top of like once you figure out the right way to talk to users on the phone and resolve their problems, it's like the QA to make sure that you're being consistent once you reach that high level of like, now I'm really making people happy on the phone. How am I making sure that we're continuing to keep them happy at that really high level? So challenges, so many challenges. I'm gonna like talk about like one challenge and solution, and then there's like another one that's like a little more involved. So I'll jump into a challenge and a solution, and then I'll have a whole bunch of challenges and some proposed solutions. So bear with me there. So basically I think our biggest challenge is just keeping up with demand. We're growing rapidly, and we really want to help our users as quickly as we can. And so solutions around that are just like we're really working with the training team recently has like really opened my eyes to how much we've grown since even I started. And so we're really focused on like giving the best training we can to people, having like solid escalation paths, because again, it is such a complicated product and we have such complicated issues to deal with, and being able to get that to somebody when you're like, whoa, I think I've reached my max of how well I can help this person. And then also just like, again, going back to that solid QA so that we're like making sure that the answers that we're giving people are consistent and accurate and amazing. So then on to the deeper challenges. So basically, providing quick and satisfying resolution times is important, especially when you're considering getting on the phone with people, because once you're on the phone with someone, they're like, all right, fix my problem. So like the cost of time to our users from problem to resolution is something that we think about a lot, because like, to me, like, the worst thing that could happen is users like hop on a call with us and then we're like, oh yeah, totally see what your problem is. We're gonna work on it. And then we're getting off the phone with them and not actually being able to resolve their problems more often than not. So just having them, getting back to how interconnected we are as a company, like we work a lot with other teams to solve users' problems, and so like there's a lot of like, we reach a wall where we help somebody and then we're like, okay, now I have to go to this team, and then we talk to them and they solve the problem. And so like when you're talking about fast resolutions, like that's like a lot trickier, right? So how are you like being able to define internal SLAs so that you can solve users' issues when they fall outside of the scope of support? So like, you know, a large amount of our problems are solved by collaborating with those other teams that we sit next to and that we talk to. And it can be a tricky thing to navigate because those teams already have their own existing priorities and workloads to manage outside of our requests. So the flow I like to think of that we're most trying to avoid as like having it be the norm is like a 4 contact rate flow. So that would be like, user contacts us, we speak to them, we confirm that we know what their problem is, we let them know we're gonna work on their problem, we reach out to the relevant team to apprise them of the situation, wait for them to investigate and confirm they can solve the user's problem, wait on the team to implement the fix, and then finally reach back out to the user to let them know that we were in fact able either to solve their problem or the ETA on the solution to their problem. So that's like a lot of back and forth with everyone. And it also means that like those additional 2 and 3 contacts that we're doing back and forth is tying up that support person's like ability to contact and help another user, right? So like that's 2 or 3 contacts that we might have missed out on from that support because they're doing that back and forth with the team and the customer. And while it is unlikely we'll be able to solve all problems immediately, even in my perfect world, I think a good goal is like to be able to do 80 to 90% of them, being able to resolve while on a call, which is just a lot of work that we're gonna have to do because that's, again, complicated product. So in the instances when we can't resolve on the call, I think the ideal user experience is like we're implementing a fix or a change that would take place that same day or within 24 hours, and we don't even need to reach back out to that user because we're so solid on that we're like, yep, know what your problem is, it'll be fixed in 24 hours, solid, done. So that's like a nice quick way to like help our users. Let's see. Okay, so getting back into solutions on all that sort of that deep dive, it's just like, it feels weird to say this because we all work so well together already, but like having even better team-to-team relationships where we're actually like working together to be like, okay, how did this interaction go? What can we do differently? What did we like about it? What do we want to keep doing? And then better utilization of other teams' runs. So like at our company, every team has like a run. It's the person that's on the front lines dealing with any unexpected things so that everyone else can continue their workflow and have consistency. And then like having a potential for those other teams to interact directly with our users, which increases their personal relationship to our users problems, and then motivates them to implement changes and fixes that contribute to user happiness and simultaneously reduce our contact rate, which is just like a lot of win. And then for that on-call run person, having them interact closely with us while we're doing the phone support beta to determine best practices for that outlying group of calls that are unable to be immediately resolved on a one contact. Another thing that we're sort of thinking about is like interdepartmental transfers, which is sort of like not really how we work. So it's something that we have to think about a lot. But like, if an issue comes up via email that we can't solve right away, then we reach out to another team and that team helps us. And it doesn't have the same urgency as like when you're on a call. And so like, the call is just a more immediate problem and also a more immediate opportunity to delight a user. So many times the back and forth to solve a problem so say you get the user's problem, you're like, yeah, I think I got it, and then you go to a team and they're like, I need more information. A lot of that stems from us not knowing what questions they're gonna, like not being able to anticipate the questions that team is gonna need answered in order to resolve the user's issue. So getting members of other teams on a call will allow the user to interact directly with the person who's actually going to solve their problem, and also that is just going to boost confidence in Stripe, because whenever you get on the phone with the people that are actually solving your problem, they just sound like they know what they're talking about, and it's just really reassuring. And then also this cuts back on the back and forth, which is going back again to like having like a quicker resolution. So yeah, that's sort of what's going on with us here at Stripe. Again, if you have people who are looking, holler at me. And if you want to talk, I have my info, maybe, yes. Email me or find me. I'm very approachable.